got the first preseason game from August. What did you guys focus on ahead of that today in practice?
Just continue to lay the foundation of what we've asked these guys to do for us. The decision making on and off the ball. Defensively first, I think that's got to be where we continue to hang our hat, understanding how in different coverages what we're asking them to do, but a real defensive focus more about us than it is the other team.
Obviously, you just 1 of 5 preseason games, experimenting, trying things out. But is there one thing that you want to at least zero in on tomorrow, just to see, all right, this clicked, or they got this, or they're showing progression? Just thinking of that.
No, that's really good. I want to continue to keep the focus on us, and it's just like, are they picking up on the foundational pieces of what we're asking them to do? Obviously we said it from the beginning. It's going to be about transition defense. How are we getting back and slowing teams down? Then the next piece comes in, are we able to protect the rim, guard guys one-on-one, make it be 1 up versus 5. Then you look at the next piece of how do we guard the pick and roll, because they're a heavy pick and roll team and a cutting team. So we got to make sure that we sit down, and that's a good challenge for us because those are part of our staples. Then offensively, how are we moving the basketball? Are we playing with that pace where we're getting the ball up the floor at the correct time? And then our cuts, our movement, off-ball movement, on-ball movement, how much are we doing that and how well we're accomplishing that?
Have you thought about lineups, how many minutes certain guys will play, maybe how deep you'll go into the bench?
I'm continuing to look at that with our staff. We're going to play a bunch of combinations throughout the preseason just to see what guys are capable of, how they gain a comfort level for one another. Like, we're going to play a ton more in practice as well, just so we can continue to get that chemistry with, no matter who we put on the floor.
Is there scenarios where either Franz or Paolo can play the 1? I know they're kind of like point forwards as is, but could you see a scenario where they're actually playing point guard?
There's going to be some opportunities for those guys to handle the basketball, but even when you have a traditional 1 out there, there's times that you obviously see that, Franz will take the ball on the break and he essentially becomes the point guard. Or Paolo will get the ball off the break and he becomes the point guard. We've done numerous drills where we'll just have different guys get the ball and they now have to lead the break because it becomes about decision making and how well they can help their teammates out.
I know we've talked a lot about how you have so many bigs in the front line, you can space the floor and things like that, but Bamba and Bol particularly, being the 7-foot-plus guys, the uniqueness of them being together, can you just kind of touch on that?
Well, there's such a unique skill set in both of them, not just their height and their length, but their decision making and their skill, like guys that can put the basketball on the floor, guys that can make shots. There's not many bigs that are capable of doing that, and those are 2 guys they can do it at a pretty good clip. And so that's fun to watch and see how they're progressing within what we're doing.
The idea of experimenting, obviously last season was almost all fact-finding. Is it much different this year, the approach, especially for the preseason? Do you kind of have a sense of what you want to see, or are you going to be sort of throwing stuff against the wall?
It's going to continue to throw things against the wall. I really do believe that, just because we've talked about making these guys decision makers from each position. So now we'll find out what combinations work and what combinations we might have to continue to improve on. But these guys do a great job of playing with each other. So that's what makes the combinations fun, because you see each guy wanting the next guy to become better.
I know we talked a lot about Bol already, but do you get the sense that maybe he doesn't even know how good he could be, what the capabilities are there?
Well, I think Bol's possesses a high amount of confidence in what he's capable of doing. I think also he just hasn't played in so much time, and I think that's a portion of it. And it's a lot of these guys not having played throughout the summer, but now he goes back, maybe a year of not playing major minutes. It's going to be interesting to see how he continues to develop and grow and gains more confidence once he's on the floor.
Gary, Markel, Jonathan, they're all out, I'm assuming, for tomorrow.
Yes.
Everybody else traveling available?
Yes, everybody else traveling is available.
We've asked, I thought that was important. We've asked a lot about Bol. Chumo, we haven't asked too much about Chumo. What have you seen differently from him? And how does he just kind of fit within these bigger laps that we talked about?
Well, again, there's that versatility that he possesses, and we've talked about that with him last year. His ability to get the ball on the break and push it, defensively being able to switch 1 through 5, and just he slowed the game down so much for himself that he's able to, make simpler reads, and that's what we've constantly asked for him. And now, obviously he's shooting the ball the way he's, started off slow last year, but now he's, his shot is definitely feeling a lot more comfortable in where he is.
Watching him, it looks like his shot's either quicker or it's coming off his hand quicker, or maybe the release is different. Are you seeing that? Is that something that you work with them or you talk with them about during the summer? Just the quickness of the release?
No, that's not the emphasis of what we've talked about with him. I think a lot of it is him just slowing down the process before he gets to that shot. I think a lot of it is still the same, but I think, you talk about the foundational piece of where he's comfortable in the position that he's in, getting to his spots with his feet set, being able to step in and knock it down, not rushing that.
With so many young players, it seems like everyone's talked about slowing down, making better decisions. How do you kind of balance holding players to standard and expecting results, but also having the patience to understand that a lot of these guys are still learning this league and learning how to play at this level?
You hit it right there. There's a level of patience that you have to have, understanding that with the youth there's some advantages, also there's still going to be learning curves, and that's the great part about it, that you watch and allow them to grow. Now, we talked about not making the same mistake twice and 3 times, and the level of consistency has to continue to grow for these guys as well, and that's consistently doing the right thing. So it's a different balance, but we'll continue to navigate as the season goes on.
Do you set any statistical goals game to game, or is it all just kind of the team mindset as far as fast breaks, both offense and defensively, or are there any statistical numbers that you set?
No, we won't go there. I think it's going to continue to be about that foundational process of what we're asking our guys to do, and if they're really registering it, are they in the right position at the right time? Did they make the right pass? Are they willing to step into the shot? Defensively, were we in our coverages? I don't think you can put a number on that. I think you just have that's the eye test of the film, letting them know that they really get what we're asking them to do.
Thank you, Coach Mose.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
Mo, how well do you compliment with Bol Bol as far as on the court stuff?
I think pretty well. I think we do things very differently. He's more of a guard, I'm more traditional big, but Bo does so many things out there where people always ask me, how did you even? They ask me personally, how did you even do that? And I was like, I don't know. And then I ask him, how did you even do that? He's like, I don't know. So you kind of see, the parallel in that.
Did you know him before NBA?
Oh yeah, we've been playing against each other since high school. I think we played. The first time I met him was in Pangos, 2015, 2016, and it was the same way. Everybody was so fascinated with just his combination of agility and length, and how big he was. I think he was the same height.
How cool is it with this team where there's so many bigs who do so many different things? Does it make your game easier? Does it kind of make it easier on the court for all of you to mesh together?
Absolutely, because it just pulls so much gravity. When you step on the floor at 7 foot, 6'11", 6'10", or however tall we all out there, it automatically pulls gravity towards you. And it just opens up so many different things out there, and you find yourself walking into a lot of open shots.
It's obviously a unique training camp with the Storm, with the new facility, all the above, but can you compare it to last year with Coach Mosley in year 2? Does everything feel just a little bit more comfortable?
Yeah, I feel like Coach had his own things going on, but I feel like a lot of it was inherited. He wanted that transition for us to be smooth. He didn't want to come in and just throw completely new concepts at us. This year, you can feel as if we're throwing in. We always had our own sets, but he's throwing in our own terminology and our own language on defense.
How much does it feel like you're a veteran with this group? Because you are.
Pretty good deal, actually. I just find myself guiding some guys through and talking them through. When you play with a team with guys who 6'10 plus, when you got 3 guys out there who are 6'10 plus, you got to communicate. Else you'll just end up in the same spots because a lot of us naturally grow up as bigs on the basketball court.
What about 11? How's that feel?
Feels great. I finally got my number back. I'm happy. Already told you guys the story, but it feels good. It feels good to look down and see the stripes. Happy to have my number back.
So we talked about asked about playing you on the court with Bol. How about number 1 overall pick Paulo? How's it been out there on the court this training camp in lineups together?
Yeah, he just learns so fast, so easily, so versatile, and he just picks up concepts so well. I think we just need to do a better job of showing them just all right, playing a 3 now, all right, we're playing a 1 now, all right. We just don't want to throw too much at him at one point, but he's handled everything so well. He's just a quick learner. I'm surprised to see he already knew half of our terminology already. which is always a good sign.
When you guys when you paired with Wendell last year, I think it caught a lot of us by surprise. But what's kind of the biggest adjustment to having to play, maybe a combination that you're not maybe you weren't expecting to play entering camp, or you kind of get thrown into just to see what it looks like in the camp setting?
It's just basketball, we just go out there and play basketball, and coach will do. We believe in coach to put the puzzle together, put the pieces together to the puzzle. But it's just easy to go out there. We're playing for guys who are so selfish. We play for each other, and now it's just a matter of competing and just having each other's backs.
We've been focusing a lot or asking a lot about these bigger lineups. I think Wendell mentioned it was him, Paulo, and I think Bol at one point all lined up together. What's one of the more challenging parts about playing maybe a 2 or 3 big man lineup? I guess from a big man standpoint, just adjusting to that.
Yeah, it's challenging. It's actually a little easier defensively than people would think, because it's just switching, it's just straight up switching. But I think offensively one time, it wasn't in training camp, but we had a lineup of the 4 of us and Caleb, and it was just fun to just go out there and just play. Just go out there, play, and just make plays that people just scratch their heads on. But defensively, I think that's where we can really make an impact. And just altering shots and just sliding our feet and just guarding guards and making them uncomfortable around the rim.
4 of who? You said it was 4 of us.
I think it was.
So Caleb, you.
It's Paulo at the 1, Caleb at the 2, Bol at the 3, me at the 4, Del at the 5. But it was just pick up.
Oh, really?
But it was fun. It was fun to just get out there and just play, as a group. And then we did it again in the lineup. We had those 3 guys out there, and then the next day I had myself, Del, Paulo, and Franz, which is a huge lineup.
You said that 4 with Caleb, that was during the summer run?
Yeah, that was just another time.
But the other one with Franz, that was in one of the training camps?
That was in one of the training camps. That was yesterday.
That's a big lineup.
That is a really big lineup.
That's with Franz at the 1 and you have...
No, Franz was at the 2, Paulo played some 1. But it's just getting out there and just gaining familiarity with each other and just, playing different positions and knowing that, yes, the position says this, but it's truly positionless. We're just getting out there, making plays for each other, and just making an impact.
For you personally, what are you hoping to kind of show or to kind of fine tune in camp as you get ready for the season?
For me, it's not a matter of showing anything anymore. It's a matter of just just going out there and leading by example and just doing. I'm heading into year 5. I just want to have an impact to win this club games.
Bol, you and Mo Bamba obviously have a lot of unique skills. Talk about how you complement one another when you're on the floor together.
Well, we're both 7 feet and we have a lot of length, so defensively that helps us cover a lot of ground and help side and blocks and all that. But we're both able to put the ball on the floor and shoot, and that's just good for us because we have a lot of different guys that can do the same thing, but we're all the same size.
How unique is it on this team where you have so many bigs who can do so many different things, the versatility, the spacing, as you touched on?
I think it's very unique because we're all capable of doing the same thing. It's not like we're all stationary bigs. We can all make plays for each other and shoot and drive, and so that's just gonna help us.
Is this the healthiest you've ever been?
Yeah, I feel like.
Was the off season kind of all about just kind of strengthening your body, getting your mind right?
Off season was mostly just a lot of movements and stuff for my foot, and just figuring out how to stay healthier, and a lot of feet stuff in rehab.
How comfortable has it been kind of integrating with this group? I mean, obviously you kind of were here toward the end of last season, but not on the court. What's it been like kind of being with these guys?
They've been making it very easy for me because they've just been helping me everything I don't understand. They'll put me aside and then even afterwards we'll talk about it. So everyone's been very helping, and they just it's been very easy because we're all helping each other.
For you, how do you feel like you're playing? Do you feel like you're making the progress that you wanted to see?
I feel like I'm playing pretty good so far. I'm just still getting used to the plays and everything, and the movements and the rotating, because we're all bigs, but we all shoot and dribble. So we're just used to getting the spacing and playing. And that's what we're getting used to.
Were there players you modeled your game after growing up? Did you watch certain guys and be like, I kind of want to do things like that guy?
Definitely, I watched a lot of Kevin Durant because he was tall and and do literally everything. And that's probably who I watched the most growing up.
Do you feel like this place was kind of a perfect place for you where you were in your career? You sort of needed an opportunity, and maybe a situation like this with a lot of other young players to sort of expand your game?
I think so because like we're a very young team and we're all growing together. So like there's no pressure on me to like be able to come here and do anything because like we're all figuring it out. So I think it's a good place for me to just figure it out. And just...
Is there any aspect of your game that you think will surprise people this season?
Probably passing. People say I can't pass or whatever, don't make plays, but I think my playmaking.
Getting the chance to play with guys like Wendell, like Mo, like Franz, like Paolo, how much of an adjustment is it to play with other bigs? You know, especially knowing that the league's kind of going to this positionless kind of style.
It's not a hard adjustment, like I said again, because we can all do the same thing. So like, no matter where we are all on the floor, it's still the same thing. So that's what's gonna make it easy for us.
Is everybody good? Mo, you have any questions? All right, we're good.